Hello all, I'm Sai and in today's video I'm going to be tier ranking all the 84 books that I've read from January to June in 2023. This year has been really good in terms of reading for me, but one thing is that I am liking a lot of books that I'm reading, but it's not like I'm finding that many all-time favorites in any way. So just in order to see how my reading has been so far this year, I'm making this video. I'll just share my screen with you guys and I'll show you all the tiers that I've created. And I have a total of 84 books, right? So it's going to take quite a while. So without any further ado, let's get into the video right away.
So I have a total of 6 tiers here, guys. Okay, the first one being new favorite, which is obviously a new favorite that I might have. Let's just wait and see. And great books which were really good, but they have not achieved that status of becoming new favorites for me. Then it's just a good time that I'm glad that I read that book and I can recommend to others who want to have a really good time. And the next one is okay, which was not that great compared to what I expected from it. Then our meh, which books were not that great at all, and it would have been better if I did not read them. And not good are books which were just objectively not good in any way at all. So I hope the tiers are clear. We'll straight away dive into the books. And I want to tell you guys one thing alone before I start ranking. Okay, I actually downloaded all the books chronologically and kept the covers in a proper way. But for some reason, after I uploaded them to this site, all of them just got collapsed. So it's not going to be in a chronological order in which I read the books. So just keep that in mind. Everything is going to be in random and we'll just get started with it right away. First, we have Chain of Thorns, which was not at all a good book. Okay. Out of nowhere, I found myself that I had rated Chain of Thorns 5 stars, which it does not deserve. At most, Chain of Thorns just deserves 3 stars from me. It was not so good an ending. And as a whole, I can say that The Last Stars itself is my least favorite series so far by Cassie. And Chain of Thorns is also my least favorite book inside the entire Shadowhunter Chronicles. So I'm just going to add it at meh. Okay, I did not expect it to be that underwhelming, but it was. Next, we have A Conjuring of Light, which is the last book inside the Shades of Magic series. And I'm adding it at great because I just loved the ending of the series. And I can see that the series is also going to be progressed on by the author this year, starting with a sequel for that particular series. And I'm very hyped for that also. Then we have Grit by Angela Duckworth, which is a self-help book that I read like 2 months back. And it was amazing. Okay, I personally believe in the concept of grit compared to any other thing in life because I believe that if we try hard, we can achieve anything we want. And that book just made me realize that even more and cemented that concept inside my brain. So I just loved that book and I'm also going to reread it sometime. Then we have Hippie by Paulo Coelho, which I tried reading a lot of times, but this time around I ended up finishing it. And it was a really nice read. So I'm going to drop it in good time. I think I might reread this one also because it was really well done by the author. Next, we have The Archer at Dawn by Swati Tirthala. And it is the second book inside the Tiger at Midnight trilogy. So I'm going to add it here at great. The series was great, but it's not my new favorite or anything. It just came out of nowhere and was really well written by the author. So I just like that series. So I think all the 3 books from the series will be ending up in great. Let's just wait and see. Then we have Before Your Memory Fades by Toshikazu Kawaguchi, which is the third book inside the Before the Coffee Gets Cold series. It was nice, but not great. So I'm going to put it at good time. I don't think I'll be reading that book, but it was nice. Next, we have The First Phone Call from Heaven, which was not good, okay? I did not like that book. I thought that it would be much more positive than it was since it is from Mitch album. It was not that great, so I'm just dropping it at meh again. It's not as bad as Chain of Thorns for me, but it was bad. Chain of Thorns was really bad, okay? That's why I did not feel like doing a discussion video for that one also. Next, we have Lizzie's Story by Stephen King, which is also a great book. It's not a new favorite, but I can say that after reading Lizzie's Story, I have become a Stephen King fan because I can see why many people love his books and how brilliant he is when it comes to word building and developing his characters in a very original way. I can believe that Lizzie's Story has actually happened to 2 people outside in the world. It is that realistic. I have not watched the series though, but I'm so glad that I read that book. Then we have The Mountain Is You by Brian A. Wiest, I think the author's name is. And it was also a great book, okay? I want to reread this one as a physical copy since I listened to the audiobook only. But there are very few books, especially in non-fiction, that I listen to the audiobook and I think that I want to buy the physical book. This is one such, so I think it is a great book. And it was also very confrontational for me while I read that book. So I want to give it a place inside the great tier. At the same time, I want to reread it also, but as a physical copy. Then we have One True Loves by TJR, Taylor Jenkins Reid. It's definitely a new favorite. Okay, I'm going to just drop it before Grit because I love this one so much more compared to any of the other books that I've read so far this year. I want to read more of TJR's books. That's what I thought just after finishing that book. Okay, I was not able to stop thinking about it. It was that good. It's also not a very big read. Okay, it was very quick for me. I was able to read it within like 2 days while I was commuting to and from work. It was really excellent. Next, we have Save the Cat by Blake Snyder, which is a good book again. It's a book on writing, and I don't want to talk much more about it because I'm not a writer yet, but I am aspiring to be one. It was really helpful for me in a way, and I'm dropping it at grade. Okay, I think there will be more books which will be going into grade. Let's just wait and see. Then we have Postscript by Cecilia Ahern, which was nice, but it was not as good as P.S. I Love You because this felt a bit more depressing at times since the character herself was depressed, despite the fact that it has been 5 years since the ending of the first book. I just liked it very much. Okay, it felt very realistic more than anything to me, and it also lived up to be the sequel for that particular book. Next, we have Hunted by the Sky. Hunted by the Sky is going at good time. Okay, it is really nice, and I liked the way in which the author again built up the character and the world here. More than anything, when it comes to writing fantasy books that are set up against an Indian backdrop, one thing that most non-Indian authors fail in doing is that they provide a backdrop which just feels very artificial when it comes to depicting India. But both of these, Hunted by the Sky as well as the Tiger at Midnight trilogy, both of them were really well done. So I'm going to drop it at good time. I'm dropping the Tiger at Midnight at great because I think the world building as well as the writing of the author was much more developed compared to Hunted by the Sky. I'm not saying that the stories are really different from each other or anything. It's just that I think and I feel like the Tiger at Midnight felt a bit more richer for me compared to Hunted by the Sky. Then we have The Great Train Journey by Ruskin Bond, which is again a good time. Okay, I don't think I'll reread this book, but I will recommend it to anyone who wants to read a nice, cozy, comfortable Indian short story collection. I don't know, for some reason, each and every one of Ruskin Bond's books just make me feel very nostalgic for some reason. Then we have The Happiness. I don't remember the name of this author, but it was a very mediocre book. Okay, it started out great, but towards the end, it just felt like the author made happiness or feeling happy feel like a chore. So I did not like that aspect of the book. Apart from it, I think it was a really, really nice read. So I'm dropping it at okay. I'll not reread that book, and I don't think I'll be recommending it to anyone also further on. Because it seems very, very mechanical around the concept of happiness when it should be even more organic. Next, we have The Casual Vacancy by JKR. It's a book I wish I can unread. Okay, it was not good. It was really bad. Next, we have Shaman's Crossing by Robin Hobb, which was again a good time. Yeah, literally speaking, it's not a good time because the main character just suffers so much in the first as well as the second books. But I like the way in which Robin Hobb is developing her characters, making them feel more human and more real. And the world that she puts in front of me is easily a world that I can visualize and see that it is real outside in the world. It's not like fiction at all. It doesn't feel like fiction. It's that good. It is like super slow. Okay, I want to tell that also. It takes me easily 2 to 3 weeks to finish at least one of Robin Hobb's books, among other books. But I think it is worth it because that slowness only makes me feel even more rooted with the characters, even more connected with the characters and the world as a whole. She's very brilliant in that aspect, but in pacing, she's very poor. I want to say that. Despite that, I don't think there is any problem with that series so far. So I'm dropping it at good time. Then we have Saints of the Household, which was also a nice book, but I don't think I'll be remembering it that much. So I'm going to drop it here at okay. It's a very short YA contemporary. Okay, I think many people will be able to relate and resonate with that because it does address a lot of social issues which people don't feel that much comfortable talking about outside. Then we have A Song of Raids and Ruin and Psalm of Storms and Silence. Both I'll put at good time. Okay, they were not great for me because both of these books are super fast paced, because of which I was not able to soak into anything that was happening with the characters. But the mental health representation as well as the way in which the author has built the world for both of these books was really nice. Then we have A Dance with the Fey Prince, which was it was mad. Okay, I did not care for that book. I think the series would not change if we don't have this book at all, because I don't think it added anything to the series at all as a whole, because it was super boring for me for most of the time. Next, we have Heart of the Sun Warrior, which is the second book inside the Daughter of the Moon Goddess series. I think this series is amazing. Okay, it's great. So I'm going to drop it here. I'll talk more about it when I drop the first book in some here. Then we have A Road to the Bazaar by Ruskin Bond again, which is again good time. Yeah, I'm going to drop it here. Next, we have Funny Creek, which is a graphic novel that I read like just 1 month back, and it was not good. Okay, it was very bad. I'm not going to say that it was as bad as The Casual Vacancy, but it was like I did not care about it. because it did not have a proper ending and it did not seem like the authors developed anything at all. Then we have Piranesi by Susanna Clark, which is definitely a new favorite. Okay, I think I read this way back in February, and trust me, I can even now just feel everything that I felt while I read that book because it was super atmospheric, which is one of my all-time favorite kinds of writing for any author to have. I cannot say that the prose of the author is that good, but the way in which she just builds the world around you, man, it is just phenomenal. I want to experience that more, and I want to read her previous book, which is like a brick also. I think I'll be getting into it pretty soon. Let's just wait and see. Next, we have Almond, which was also a nice book. Okay, I cannot say that it's a good time. No, really. It's better than okay, but it's not a good time. I'm going to drop it at great because it wasn't a happy book. It was heartwarming, and seeing so many things that this particular character was going through just made me feel so emotional and sad at multiple instances. But it is definitely a great book. Next, we have The Cat Who Saved Books, which is also a bookish book. Okay, if you're a book lover, I think you will love this book. And I did have a really fun time reading it. Okay, I think I was listening to it parallelly when I was working one day, and it's a very short audiobook. I think it was just around 5 to 6 hours in full length, and I listened to it in 2 times speed as I usually do. And it got over within like a quarter day or so for me, and it was very fun to read. So I'm going to drop it at good time. It was not great because I don't think I'll be remembering this book that often. Still, it was a good read, and I want to drop it at good time because of that. Then we have Do Epic Ship by Ankur Warikoo, which is a book which is okay. Okay, I'll not say that it is for anyone who has read a lot of non-fiction books or self-help books before, but if you're a beginner, it'll be a good one for you. For me, basically, it just felt very okay because there were multiple things that I did not agree on with the author, and I listened to the audiobook, and the author himself has narrated it. It was a horrible experience as an audiobook, but the content inside was like fine, so I'm dropping it in okay. I don't know why there are 2 copies of the same book here. We have The Trees of Dara again by Ruskin Bond, which I'm going to drop in good time again. I think I'm going to drop all of Ruskin Bond's books in good time because they just made me feel so comfortable and cozy and just nice while reading them. That's why I'm like, dropping all of them in good time. Then we have Men Are From Mars and Women Are From Venus, which was nice. And no, it just felt like an information overload for me for a single book. And if it had been split into like 2 books at least, I think it would have been much better for me or people like me who cannot take that much content from a non-fiction book just on the first time. So I'm going to drop this one at okay. It was nice, but it was not that easily digestible for me. I have Don't Lose Out Workout. It's definitely a new favorite. Okay, again, another book which I want to buy a physical copy of and read because it did change a lot of thought patterns in me regarding how I look physically and whether I'm healthy and fit or not compared to, losing weight or anything. Because the author does not talk about losing weight as the main focus throughout this book. She just talks about working out and how it can help your body be healthy as you grow older and older, because it happens to everyone. Once we reach like 40 or so, we all start becoming a bit more not being able to do all the physical activities that we usually can do in our 20s and 30s. And because of that, our health gets affected. And this author in this book just showed how easily we can prevent it from happening to ourselves by just spending like 2.5 hours each and every week in a very easy way without tiring ourselves out and just making our body healthy. Because of that, it is definitely a new favorite for me. Then we have The Gut by Payal Kotari. It was not a great book. I'll say that it was okay. I did not learn much from it because the author talked about a Western diet and Indian solutions for it, rather than talking about an Indian diet and Indian solutions for it, even though she has written it predominantly for Indians, so it was not that great. Next, we have Turtle Bread, which was an amazing book. Okay, it's a very heartwarming graphic novel. Many people need to read it, okay? It felt like an anime, but in a very nice, heartwarming, and comfortable way compared to anything else, so I'm dropping it here. Then we have On the Come Up by Angie Thomas, which was, again, really great. Okay, her prose is just great, guys, okay? And the way in which she makes her characters sound, okay, the voice of the characters, it is very pure, it is very genuine, and I think that's what sparks the interest of the reader when it comes to reading Angie Thomas's books. And I was able to feel the same amount of emotions that I felt while I read The Hate You Give. It was definitely amazing, and I think many more people need to read it. Next, we have HBR's 10 Must-Reads for CEOs, which is a book that I did not think I would enjoy, okay? But out of nowhere, it was super useful for me because I've been trying to manage a lot of stuff lately, and this book just did show me how I can handle that all with ease without stressing myself out, at the same time working hard consistently. Next is The Living Mountain by Amitabh Ghosh, which was also again a good read, but I don't think I'll be remembering it much. I want to read more by this author, but it was not that much of an impactful read for me, so I'm going to drop it here at okay. Then How to Live Your Life. Again, another book I think I feel is nice, but it's not as good as to put in good time for me, so I'm going to drop it here at okay. Next, we have The Namesake by Jhumpa Lahiri. I did not expect that I will not like a Jhumpa Lahiri story or character ever. Okay, even with that, the prose of the author, even in that book, was just mind-blowingly amazing. I want to read her books just for that reason. I don't care about anything else. In that aspect, if you ask me, I'll put it at great. But, I did not like the story, or I did not like the character at all inside the story. So, because of that reason, I'm going to drop it here at okay. It pains me a little, but, I have to do justice for the book. So, it's going to okay, even though she's a favorite author of mine. Next, we have Nala's Damayanti by Anne Nilakantan, which is a good time. Okay, I'll not say that it is very different or very great, but I did learn a lot of new things about our Hindu mythology, which I did not know before, even though I knew the story of Nala and Damayanti. Next, we have The Golden Years by Ruskin Bond. Again, it's a good time. Okay, I'll not say it's okay because it's better than okay, so I'm going to drop it here after Nala's Damayanti at good time. Then we have The Love Hypothesis. I think it is a very overrated book. Okay, there are certain things that the author does here which felt very fresh to me because I have not read anything against an academic backdrop before. In that aspect, it was very new and fresh for me, but the romance just felt very two-dimensional because we all keep on saying that male authors need to write women better. At the same time, I think female authors also need to write men better, especially when it comes to romance books like this one. So, in that way, it was not bad. Yeah, I'm not good. Okay, so I'm going to drop it at the meh. It was fun to read, but if you ask me about the characters, I'll not say, I liked either of them because there was nothing much to, think about. Empire of the Vampire, I'm going to drop it here straight away at New Fear. It's not as good as Nevernight still for me, but I am expecting a lot from Empire of the Damned and the last book inside the trilogy. So let's just wait and see. But as of now, Empire of the Vampire is definitely a new favorite for me. Next, we have Uzumaki by Junji Ito. This one disappointed me a bit. Still, it was good. Yeah, I cannot drop it at good time. It is great. Okay, in terms of concept and the execution, I think it was great. But bringing all the different things that talks about together was not working that well for this author for me. So I did not enjoy that book in that aspect. So I'm dropping it at great. As of now, it seems like my reading here was good, but it was not great because, you can see that only good time has been a lot. Next, we have The Tiger at Midnight. As I said before, I'm going to drop this at great because this trilogy as a whole itself is amazing. And of the three books, the third book is my most favorite, so I'm going to drop it here. Okay, next we have Star Daughter by Shweta Thakur. Okay, again, another book which I think is great because, I had really low expectations for this one because of certain reviews that I saw from people whom I trust on BookTube and Instagram. That's the thing, right? Books are extremely subjective, and in that way, I think I enjoyed this book so much, okay? It just showed me an Indian Hindu fantasy in a proper way against a contemporary bad without overdoing anything in any way at all. I like the book very much, so I'm going to definitely follow this author and I'm going to read her second book, which was published last year too. The next one is The Secret Garden by Frances Hodgson Bennett. It was nice. Okay, so I'm going to drop it at okay. I've said before, I'm not a huge fan of classics, but since I'm enjoying a lot more of good prose right now, I'm trying to get myself into reading classics more. Next, we have Sweet Bean Paste by Durian Sukagawa. Okay, this is easily my new favorite. Okay, it's very easily one of my new favorites from this year. I'm going to drop it all the way after One True Loves because I think I enjoyed them in this order only. Again, I want to buy a physical copy of this book and I want to reread it over and over and over again because it's so beautiful. Okay? It is such a heartwarming book which will make you cry and smile at multiple instances. It was just great. Then we have Meditation and Its Methods by Swami Vivekananda, which was nice. Okay, I'll say it was okay. But there are so many things that the author talks about here which, have not worked out for me in the past. I've been meditating for 3 years now nearly and I have developed a lot of habits based on that and around that. And I think there are so many things that didn't work out for me as the author suggests here, and there are things which did not work out for me too. So I'm going to drop it here at okay. Next we have Snakeskins, which is a sci-fi thriller. I think it was okay again. It wasn't great. It was very okay, so I'm going to drop it here. And of all these books, I think Meditation and Its Methods was the one which helped me the most. So I'm going to drop it here at first. We have Hunger by Roxane Gay, okay, which is a great book. After reading this book, I definitely want to read more of Roxane Gay's works. She has such a very honest and, no filter kind of voice. She just says everything that she wants to say in the most crudest form possible and makes the reader deal with it. I think that's a really strong and necessary form of writing out there right now. And I want to read more of her books just because of that reason. Next, we have Thank You for Listening by Julia Whelan, my most favorite audiobook narrator. And her book was great. I'm going to drop it at great again. It was a 4-star read for me, but it just satisfied all the expectations that I had from a book that was written by this audio narrator slash author, and I just liked it very much. Still, I enjoy her narration more than her writing, so I just want her to keep on narrating as many books as she can. Next, we have A Duel with the Vampire Lord by Elise Coa, which is the third book inside the Married to Magic series. This one was much far better compared to the second book, so I'm dropping it at good time. In this book only, the world grows a little bit more, and the scope of the series itself becomes a bit more vast compared to the past two books. The past two books feel a bit more confined to the place where the story is taking place, but in this one, the whole world as such is taken as the scope, and the story is developed there. So I like that aspect of this book. Next, we have The Blue Umbrella by Ruskin Bond, which is his most popular book. I'm going to drop it here at good time because it was just so nice to. It's a very tiny little book. Yeah, I think it's not even 100 pages long, and the audiobook was not even 1 hour long. And it just made me feel so good. Next, we have Heaven by Miku Kawakami, which is a great book. Okay, I want to drop this a new favorite, but there is a small thing which holds me back because there is something about this book which did not allow me to rate it 5 stars. I rated it 4 stars, yet I want to read more of this author's books because I just love the way in which she narrated the story more than anything. I want to read Breasts and Eggs more than anything else. Okay, I think it's a huge book also. So let's just wait and see if I end up reading it this year or not. I want to read it physically. I have the audiobook on Storytel, but I want to read it physically. That's why I have not read it so far. Next, we have Act Cool by Tolby Smith. It's a queer YA contemporary book. It was nice. It was a good time, but it wasn't great. Okay, if you ask me, it wasn't great. There are also really good ways in which the author shows transphobia and how people deal with it, and how people of that particular community have to deal with it on a very normal basis. It's not an okay thing to do, but many people still do it across the world, and that representation was really well done by the author, since the author himself is trans. Next, we have The Clothing of Books by Junpa Lahiri, which is easily one of my new favorites. Okay, after Interpreter of Melodies, I think I like The Clothing of Books a lot more. I want to read all of her other books. I keep on saying it, but for some reason, I don't find the time to do it. But trust me, it's going to happen. Really soon, it's going to happen. We have A Darker Shade of Magic, which is again a great book. Okay, I'm going to drop it here, and great. Instead of dropping it at new favorite, because it's not my new favorite, because of all the 3 books, the third one is my most favorite. Even that ended up being in great, so I'm going to drop it here itself in great. Then we have Summer Days and Summer Nights by Stephanie Perkins, edited by Stephanie Perkins, and it has a short story by Cassie Clare and Lee Bardugo. That's the main reason why I bought that book. It was a nice time. Okay, it was a good time, so I'm going to drop it here at good time. Next, we have Amari and the Night Brothers and Amari and the Great Game, which are both really great. Okay, I did not expect much from the series since it's really great, but the author is just phenomenal. They have done a great way of showing all the things that these children are going through, and main characters here just feel so mature for their age, but not in an overdone way at all. So I just enjoyed that series, and I'm waiting for the next book inside the series also. Next, we have Jukebox by Nidhi Chanani, which is again a good time. Not a great book or new favorite or anything, but I will recommend it continuously. And there were so many things that the author did in there, which also felt really nice as part of a graphic novel, which is very cozy in its tone. Next, we have Adi Yogi, The Source of Yoga by Sadhguru, which is again a great book. Okay, the author here takes various stories of Shiva from Hindu mythology and explains them from the perspective of a yogi in a yogic aspect, and it was very fresh for me because I have not heard any of these stories from that point of view at all, and it was very refreshing and helped me see my own religion's mythology from a different point of view and how deep it is. Next, we have Daughter of the Moon Goddess. As I said before, Daughter of the Moon Goddess and its sequel, which is Art of the Sun Warrior, both are really great reads. So I'm going to drop them both together. They're really amazing. If you've not read the duology, go forward and try it. It's amazing. And if I'm not wrong, there's a third book also coming out. I don't know why. We have How to Be a Bouse by Lily Singh. Okay, this is not a new favorite because it's already a favorite for me. That's the reason I reread it. So How to Be a Bouse goes here. Yeah, I want to drop this all the way in the front before all of the other books because that's a book which gives me so much motivation and inspiration out of nowhere each and every time I go forward and try anything from it. Next, we have Crying in H Mart, which is okay. Yeah, it is a memoir, but I just think that it's okay because, it did not resonate that well with me because there are so many things that the author does here and talks very honestly about. Other things that I'm not a huge fan of, so I'm just dropping it at okay. Next, we have Things in Jars, which is a good time, okay? It is a really nice book that is well written by the author for that time period during which the story takes place, and the character is also really nice. Next, we have Rising Like a Storm, which is a sequel to Hunted by the Sky, so I'm just dropping it here. And I think this is the second book inside the Shades of Magic. The series itself is great, right, as I said before. So I'm just going to drop it here. Next we have What I Think About When I Think About Running, which was a good time again. It wasn't a great read, which was eye-opening or anything in any way for me, but I did like the way in which the author talked about one of his favorite hobbies and passions to do in such an elaborate and proper way, while talking about his life's history along the way. So it was really nice to read. And more than anything, it did not feel like a Murakami book to me since it's non-fiction. So I just enjoyed it throughout. Next, we have Dracula by Bram Stoker, which is great. Okay. It just made me feel creepy the whole time I was reading it. Next, we have The Toy Makers by Robert Dinstein, which I just read last month. Was again a good time, but not anything great or out of the world for me. So I'm dropping it at good time. Next, we have The Adventures of Sherlock Holmes. Again, great. Okay, all of Sherlock Holmes stories for me are great, especially this in this collection. I was not able to, deduce any of the cases that were presented to us, and it was just so much fun to see Sherlock and Watson together solving all the mysteries out there. It was so much fun. Next, we have The Power of Positive Thinking, which I think is an okay book. I'm saying it's okay because it leans so much into Christianity rather than just talking about the law of attraction in a proper way. Next, we have Black Beauty by Anna Sewell, which is a great book. Okay. It just made me feel so sad at instances. Understanding how bad we have treated animals over the centuries, at the same time how we are treating some of them even now today. So yeah, it was like that for me. Next we have Kamala Harris's Phenomenal Woman, which was a very for me. Okay, it wasn't great. I was not at all a huge fan of it, and I just hope that there's a book like this thing which does not feel like a historical textbook for me. Next we have Spy Family, which is great. Okay. Spy Family is great. I've read only the first 2 volumes. I want to continue on with the manga series. But since there is so much text in it, it is difficult for me to read it on my tablet or my phone. So I think I'll be buying physical copies of that manga and read. Just wait and see. We have Forest Mage by Robin Hobb again, which is the second book in the Soldier Sun trilogy. Again, it's a really, really good time. Okay. The second book is just as slow as the first book. It does not get fast. So please don't even think of it. Other than that, I think it is a really good series. Next, we have How to Develop Self-Confidence and Influence People by Public Speaking by Dale Carnegie. Again, this is a great read. Okay, I learned certain gimmicks and tactics after reading this book, and I am applying a few of them at work as well as here in some of my videos, and I can see the proper results of them as the author promised. Next, we have Samsara by Saksham Garg, which is again a very mad book. Okay, I had very high expectations for this one. I have an entire review talking about why I did not like it, what I liked it, and all such things. I don't think I'll be continuing on with this series, but as one concept which just intrigued me a lot, so I might read it. Next, we have My Sister's Keeper by Jodi Picoult, which is again a great book. I did not like the ending though, but the book as a whole was really nice. Okay. It just gave me the kind of expectations that I had on the book, and except for the ending, I liked everything else about the book. Next, we have Sivadami in Sabadam by Amarar Kalki, which is a series of 4 volumes of books, and I enjoyed each and every one of them. I want to read the series in English just as I want to do it for Ponniyin Selvan, so I'm going to drop Sivadami in Sabadam all the way up here in New Favorite, because I definitely am going to reread the series, and you will see me talking about it more often in the channel pretty soon. Then we have The Queen's Gambit by Walter Tevis. Okay, I read the book, I watched the series after reading the book, and both of them are excellent. Okay, if you have not read The Queen's Gambit or watched it, please do it right away, because it is one of the most well-made series that I've seen so far, and also one of the best adaptations that I've seen. It is very difficult to adapt a book like this one, but I think the people at Netflix have done a great justice for this book. You need to read it and you need to watch it. And at last, we have The Chariot at Dusk by Swati Deedala again, which is the third book inside the Tiger at Midnight trilogy. And again, I'm going to drop it at great, because it's definitely one series that I've enjoyed so much reading this year. So yes guys, this is finally the tier ranking that I've done for the first half of all the books that I've read so far this year. It has been a really good year so far in terms of reading and also some other aspects in my life, and I hope that the second half is just going to be even better than the first half, especially in terms of reading. You can just see, right, the genres as well as the kinds of books that I'm reading, kinds of authors that I'm reading, both Indian as well as international, is very much diverse. I can just see it from this complete tier list itself, and I hope that it happens for the rest of the year also. And if you are interested in doing something like this, just drop all the books that you have done in some tier maker, take a screenshot and send it to me. I'd love to know it. So with this, we have come to the end of our tier ranking. So yes guys, that's it for today, and if you have any other suggestions for this kind of tier ranking video which I can do in the future, please do let me know that in the comments below, because I enjoy making these kind of videos. It's a bit more work than usual for me, but I find them very interesting and joyful to do. I hope you liked it, and if you did enjoy watching today's video, don't forget to give it a thumbs up and also share it to your friends. And if you want to get more content from me, do subscribe to the channel. Thanks for watching and have a great rest of your day.